Yeah, we'll ease him back in this week, and hopefully by the end of the week, he'll feel good enough to cut it loose and keep it rolling. But we want to be smart.
Does him missing time, is there any catch-up aspect to it, or is it early enough that it really doesn't make that huge of a difference?
If he hadn't been in the same system for the number of years, I would be a bit more concerned. Anytime you're trying to build your offense and build camaraderie and get the timing down, you'd love for him to be out there, but everybody deals with something like this, and we've kept him locked in mentally, and he'll continue to do that.
How has he been? Has COVID taken its toll on him? Or is he okay?
No, he seems fine. Worked out the other day before the scrimmage and seems good physically, and just got to get back to the flow, really.
With Maxx, I know you said he was ahead of schedule. Do you have optimism that somewhere in the early part of the season he's going to be able to be back? And if so, how do you kind of look how you would deploy 3 tight ends that could play for you?
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the best blocking tight ends I've ever seen or been around. Can obviously do stuff in the pass game, as you saw last year. Coming off that injury, we want to be smart with how we utilize him and really play to his strengths. So I'm hopeful that we can get those 3 guys out on the field at the same time at some point, and we'll just have to see how he kind of continues to progress.
Kliff, having gone through a 3-game preseason slate last year, did you guys learn anything as opposed to the 4-game on how you guys want to approach and make any adjustments for this year?
I not a ton. I think guys ultimately, I know the players enjoyed having that basically preseason bye week at the end, so I think it worked out for all parties. But you can see in the NFL the trend of guys that most teams know are going to start aren't getting a lot of work in the preseason anyways, and so it's been good for the young guys to be able to show what they can do and get the majority of the reps.
We talked a lot about the running backs, those top running backs. What about the couple of the undrafted guys, Pledger and Ronnie Rivers? What have you seen from them, and did they have any kind of chance to make any inroads?
They do. Both very productive in college and had picked up the system really quickly. They don't make many mistakes. That's the best thing I can say about those two is when they're asked to do a job, they get it done, whether it's catch, protect, run the football, and we've really been pleased with how they've performed so far.
What's the plan for Marquise this week?
He'll do some today, get him going out there in individual and run him around some, and hopefully each day he can increase some reps and get him going full speed by probably Wednesday.
Is the team going to issue any punishment to him, or are you going to wait until the legal system runs its course?
Yeah, that would be NFL, and they kind of handle that at this point, protocol-wise.
You guys don't do anything different?
No. I've gotten too many of those, whatever those cars they set that they flash with those lights. Yeah, so I can't really speak on that topic. In Texas, you got to catch them, like old school style. They got to pull out and catch you. Here, they just get you. So it's a little tougher circumstance.
Some standouts for you?
I really liked how Trace performed. I thought every opportunity he gets, he looks like he knows the system, plays with confidence, steps up, makes plays. He ran 4.57, I think, at the combine, so he's got some athleticism to do it. And then Jarrett, for not getting a bunch of reps, I thought he made some good decisions and handled the operation well. So starting with the quarterbacks who haven't got a ton of reps, I mean, Trace have picked up with the other 2 sitting out, but I thought they performed well. And then I thought Keontae Ingram did a nice job when he had his opportunities to either run it, catch it. He's a big physical back and has played in some similar systems. So that was good to see. And then D-line-wise, I thought J.J. looked great. He made some big plays down there on the goal line. Zach Allen's come a long way, and they seem to be very disruptive out there.
Did you know much about Trace before he came here last year? And then did you see some traits there, even though it was only on practices and practice squad?
I admired him from afar, just watching him at Penn State. I thought he was tough-nosed. He was a gamer. It seemed like every game that they played, they were in it. And he kind of had that will to win and that moxie, and not the biggest guy, not the strongest guy, but just made plays. And then I remember him in Baltimore in the preseason, played really well for them. And so I've been pleasantly surprised at I guess, his ability as a passer and his knowledge of the system and how quickly he's picked it up.
Where are you on the pass rush post-championship this year?
We still are waiting to see. I think we won't know until game 1 how it all plays out. You know, Golden not going right now. He's a guy we're going to lean on heavily. Guard X, coming back from that knee 2 years ago, has looked like he's full go, like he was the year he had that sack production. Those young guys, DK, Vic, DiMakeji, we got to see just kind of who steps up. But you don't replace Chandler. You just hope that you can find a way to try and come close to that production with the group.
Do you feel like that group and that kind of play is a good example? Are you going to be looking for more in preseason games this year, especially with some of the younger guys than maybe you have in the past, just because there are so many questions like that?
Yeah, the guys that haven't played, I mean, DiMakeji and the young guys, we're definitely going to get them a bunch of reps and a bunch of rushes and see who shakes out that we think can step in and actually contribute for us on defense.
You mentioned a few times that when your offense was really clicking last year, you had both James and Chase healthy. What made that work, and how confident are you can replicate something like that going forward?
You know, I think the world of Chase, and so it's hard to replace a guy like that. He was so smart and so good in the past game, and he could run it. But I think just keeping both those guys fresh, it allowed them to play at a high level and be at their best. I never thought when we were really rolling with both those guys playing that either one got worn out or got beat up, and so you saw the best that they had each time they were out there. But I'm not sure if we can replace Chase like that. I've been really impressed with Eno every time he gets a chance to run the football and has really improved in the pass game. And then obviously Darrell Williams, bringing him in, he's played in huge games, has been very productive in this league. And then Jonathan Ward is the guy that keeps coming as well. So we'll see how it all plays out. But I would prefer it be that way than, you know, James get hit 35 times a game and you try to get through 17 games. That's hard to do.
Coach, so where Mike Berkovich got a promotion in the offseason, what was the nature of what he was doing before, and now how much more is he doing now?
Yeah, Jose, we call him the local celebrity, Mike Burko. I actually did a presentation of the offensive unit that if you ever go out with him, you're playing for second place already, because he's like the Pied Piper around here. But he obviously has the ASU status, which carries him a long way in Scottsdale. But he's got a great football mind. I think the biggest thing I noticed early was just the rapport of the players. You know, they respect how he carries himself. I think he's done a good job building relationships within the building and the players, and they know he works his tail off, and they know how he coaches and how much work he puts into it. So there's a level of trust he's built with the guys. And so anytime you can come in as a young guy and make that impression, it's a big deal.
Do you have any more information yet on Antoine's status?
We don't. It's the same thing. It's basically waiting for the injury to settle down a little bit before we can really figure out, is it a deal where he can just rehab it and play, or do we need to go in there and get some sort of repair done?
Is Trey going to see any time this week, or are you just going to wait until the preseason game to get him back out there?
The next couple of days, we'll tell. We're going to see if he is feeling good, and if he is, we'd love for him to get a lot of playing time this week.
You had mentioned wanting to see a little more out of Marco. How do you guys approach kind of the cornerback as a whole outside of Byron heading into the preseason, and Marco seemingly, just from a numbers standpoint, kind of being one of your top guys? But
yeah, it's to be determined. There's no doubt. I've been impressed with Hamilton. He's stepped in and second year in the system, super competitive, very athletic. Contributed a lot on special teams last year, and when we needed him, stepped up in that role. But he's really played well in camp. But we need Marco, and we need another one of those young guys to really come on. That's a position I think that depth-wise, we are in search of the next guy that's going to come along and make us feel good about him going in and playing meaningful plays.